if it weren't for Donald Trump, Israel would have been eviscerated.
Your relationship with Netanyahu's...
It's good, but we have to keep him a little bit sane.
As tensions over Lebanon grow, is Mujtaba Khamenei quietly convincing Donald Trump to dump Benjamin Netanyahu? With their rift now exploding into the open on U.S. television? Is Trump's brutal, indirect jab about keeping Netanyahu a little bit sane actually Mujtaba's masterstroke, driving a wedge between Israel's prime minister and his closest patron? By boasting that his decisions made it possible for Israel to survive, is Trump reminding Netanyahu who really holds the B-2s, the bombs and the leverage that keeps Israel protected? As he takes sweeping credit for Israel's survival after the Iran war, is Trump in the same breath sending a warning to Netanyahu that U.S. support is not a blank check? By suggesting Israel exists because of him and the United States, is Trump escalating an ego clash with Netanyahu that could reshape how Washington and Tel Aviv talk in public? Donald Trump is now boasting about having virtually no limits on his power as president, just as his rift with Netanyahu widens over how far Israel should go inside Lebanon. In a new Axios interview, Trump claimed there are no limits to his authority in foreign policy, framing himself as the ultimate decider on war, peace, and pressure over allies. He went further, saying his foreign policy decisions made it possible for Israel to exist after the Iran war, implying that without his choices Israel might not have survived. Trump insisted his ties with Netanyahu are good, but then added that we have to keep them a little bit sane, a cutting aside that underlines how strained the relationship has become.
What have you learned about not just the exercise of power, but the limits on your power as a result of the conflict?
There are no limits.
No limit.
No, not. I haven't learned that lesson yet. I know there are, but there are no limits. We defeated them totally militarily. I was asked by Pakistan, because they're close, to please not do any more. I said I like them a lot.
And it certainly brought Iran to the table more than before. However, beginning a conflict, you had talked about you only wanted unconditional surrender. And
well,
the MOU doesn't look like unconditional surrender.
Well, it really probably is unconditional surrender.
It is?
I think so. Look, they have no military. They're all at the bottom of the sea. 159 ships, that's what they have.
Sure, but they could still menace. They only had these small one, Gashti boats or
look, you call it what you want. I hear the JCPOA, the Obama nuclear catastrophe, which was so bad. When Obama left, he didn't hit their military.
Sure.
He didn't damage their Navy or destroy their Air Force. I destroyed the Air Force. Then put a new group in there, very good, but very nasty. I dealt with them. They're gone. They're all gone. And we're dealing with the third group, who I actually think is the smartest group. And I actually think it's regime change, if you want to know the truth. These are different people.
How is it regime change if
because they're different people.
But you have Khamenei Jr., you still have a lot of IRGC officials there.
They're different people.
All right.
Khamenei Jr. is different from the father.
You have a number
And we have people that are much less radicalized than the previous two groups, of which I knew them both. But think of it. Oh, why aren't you tougher? The only way I can get tougher is if I go in there for another 2 or 3 weeks and continue to bomb the hell out of them, right? But what does that get us? The Strait of Hormuz will not be open. Let's say I did that. Let's say I decided to do that. It was a decision I had to make. So right now, our stock market is through the roof. The oil prices are tumbling. The oil prices are practically the same as they were before I started. The big difference is that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon, okay? It's very clear and very simple. Some guys that I used to respect, I don't respect anymore. They're hardliners, but I have the argument with them.
Mm-hmm.
They're unable to win the argument with me. They can't win it. And so they go, here's the end of the, all right, I don't care. I still don't like it. Okay? That's what, you so should have gone. If I went further, the stock market would be much lower. Now think of this. I have one primary wish as president. In terms of people, I never want to be the late, great Herbert Hoover. So this is the kind of thing that could cause a worldwide depression. Excuse me, just 1 second. If it weren't for Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu worked well with me, but he will tell you, we're the ones with the guns, we're the ones with the whole deal, we're the ones with the B-2 bombers, etc. If it weren't for Donald Trump, Israel would have been eviscerated.
Your relationship with Netanyahu's,
It's good, but we have to keep him a little bit sane.
are you going to be able to control Israel from attacking Lebanon?
Yeah,
Eh,
I will be. I mean,
How?
I wonder. They have a lot of respect for me, and they do as I say. Remember this. If I don't terminate the JCPOA, remember, that was a road to a nuclear weapon, legally. It says right there. And Obama thought he could pay them off. He gave them billions and billions of dollars, $1.7 billion in cash.
Those comments land as multiple reports describe a widening rift over IDF actions inside Lebanon, with Washington pushing for restraint and Tel Aviv publicly digging in. Netanyahu, for his part, continues to insist on keeping Israeli troops in southern Lebanon despite the U.S. Iran ceasefire terms, positioning himself as the guardian of Israel's security zone. According to reports, officials in the Trump administration are quietly building ties with figures in Israel's political opposition. The outreach is reportedly focused on leaders viewed as potential successors to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett and former IDF Chief Gadi Eisenkot are said to be among the key figures attracting Washington's attention. U.S. officials have reportedly begun sending feelers aimed at establishing informal channels of communication with the opposition camp. The reported effort reflects growing uncertainty over Netanyahu's political future amid mounting domestic and international pressure. Sources say Washington is increasingly preparing for the possibility that Netanyahu could lose the next Israeli election. Reports point to growing frustration within Washington over hardline elements inside Prime Minister Netanyahu's governing coalition. Some U.S. officials reportedly view key members of the current government as obstacles to broader regional diplomatic efforts. The war in Gaza has also left Israel facing intense international criticism and mounting political pressure abroad. Officials in Washington are said to be increasingly concerned about their ability to advance wider Middle East initiatives under the current political landscape. With Israeli elections due by October, the United States appears to be quietly preparing for multiple political outcomes. Even as reports of private frustration emerged, President Trump publicly praised Benjamin Netanyahu on June 19. The U.S. president described Netanyahu as a warrior prime minister, while reflecting on the recent conflict with Iran. Trump said the United States and Israel fought side by side during the war and achieved major military successes together. He also insisted that Washington continues to maintain what he called a great relationship with Israel. The remarks appeared designed to ease tensions after several days of public disagreements over Israel's actions in Lebanon.
And we've had a great relationship with Israel. We're very formidable. And Bibi Netanyahu, he's a warrior prime minister, and he should be acknowledged as that. They should give him credit because he really did. We had a very good relationship, General, with all of them, but we really fought hard with Israel. And frankly, I feel that if we weren't around, let's say if there wasn't this presidency, we rebuilt our military during my first term in Iran, where in 1 week, virtually, we knocked out their entire Navy, their entire Air Force, their anti-missile weapons, their radar. We knocked out everything. Now, some of the fake news would say, oh, we didn't do it fast enough or something. We took about a week. We're a little spoiled by Venezuela, but equal, I would say equal. And now we have an agreement that was signed last night, and it's 60 days. They have to make a deal, otherwise we will do things that won't make them happy, but I don't think it's going to get to that. I think it's going to be very good. Remember, if we do that, then all of a sudden you're not going to have the oil flowing out of the strait too quickly, because people that own billion-dollar ships don't love missiles flying over them, don't love mines all over the water. And this is going to be amazing what's happening now, because we have the greatest economy that we've ever had. We have $19.2 trillion coming into our country from other countries and people, but a lot of other countries are coming in, including Qatar, who was so nice in providing. You know, we were at a little bit of a logjam. We're waiting for I call them the normal 747s, and I asked the Emir, if we could use the brand new 747 that he got when we first heard about it, 800 hours. 800 hours for an airplane is essentially, I think, Troy, you could say that's a brand new plane. And I said, would like to use it for a little while because the planes are pretty old. Our planes are old. See, a normal president wouldn't do this. A normal president wants to stay away from aircraft. We don't want to order any aircraft so that everybody thinks, but our country has to be represented properly. That includes we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest aircraft anywhere in the world, military fighters and bombers, and the B-2 bomber, you saw what that did. And we should have a plane. And we're going to have, as you know, we ordered 2 for a long time ago. They ordered, and they're coming in. And the hangar was built for the large plane. The other plane is such a difference in size. But there will never be one like this. This is very unique. This is considered the world's most luxurious plane. When it was built at a level that will probably never be seen again. And
the new U.S. Iran memorandum has triggered deep concern inside Israel, where officials fear it could reshape the regional balance. The agreement calls for broader de-escalation across the Middle East, including efforts to reduce tensions in Lebanon. Iran has argued that Israel's continued military presence in southern Lebanon violates the spirit of the agreement. Prime Minister Netanyahu has rejected those claims and vowed to maintain Israeli forces in a security buffer zone. Israeli officials insist that the country is not bound by any arrangement that could compromise its national security. U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff is heading to Switzerland as Washington explores the possibility of a new round of talks with Iran. The visit comes as both sides try to build on the recent memorandum of understanding and keep diplomacy on track. According to U.S. officials, the first round of discussions could focus on a broader agreement covering Iran's nuclear program. However, officials have not yet confirmed whether a new date has been finalized for the negotiations. Trump envoy Jared Kushner is already in Switzerland ahead of the expected diplomatic meetings. The presence of 2 senior Trump envoys has fueled growing speculation that negotiations could begin sooner rather than later. For now, neither Washington nor Tehran has officially announced when the next round of talks will actually start. Iranian officials had previously refused to attend the talks while Israeli military operations in Lebanon were still ongoing. Tehran maintained that attacks against Hezbollah had to stop before any negotiations could move forward, according to reports. That stance threw the Swiss diplomatic process into uncertainty, despite the recently signed U.S.-Iran agreement. However, U.S. and regional sources say Israel and Hezbollah have since agreed to renew their ceasefire, potentially clearing a path for talks to resume.